Hi friends, welcome to episode number 20 of our procurement and sourcing series. I really appreciate your endurance in terms of following these videos and reaching until the episode number 20 of our procurement and sourcing series. You can call yourself as one of the few professionals in the market who build the expertise in procurement and sourcing module. And in this episode, we will be explaining about the direct delivery process in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. With that note, let's quickly jump into today's topic. So first, let's try to understand about why we need to use direct deliveries and how do we configure and use those direct delivery process in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So that's what we're going to see in this part one of direct delivery. So direct delivery process or deliveries that are sent directly from vendor to your customer. So traditionally, if there are any requirements from the customers, generally whether it is a manufacturing organization or a retail and distribution organization, they place their requirements with the vendor. They get the appropriate raw materials or the finished good items, and then if they want to relabel it, pack it, or manufacture it, and then they will distribute it back to the customers based on their demands, right? So this is the traditional route which will be followed. But in case of direct deliveries, the legal entities, the buying legal entities, it can be USMF. In this case, I have just mentioned it as USMF because USMF is the demo data legal entity. In these cases of direct deliveries, the buying legal entity get into an arrangement with the vendor that because of various reasons like the shortage of expertise or because of the transportation or lead time or it can be many reasons like this. Because of this, they get into an agreement and ask the vendors to manufacture the required finished good items and deliver it directly to the customers instead of bringing it to the USMF storing it, and then once again, whenever there is a need for from the customer, they need to create the sales orders and then fulfill the demand. So the whole idea is direct delivery save delivery time first of all, because the customer places order to USMF and then USMF looks the stock and then gather the requirements, place the order with vendor, and then once again the vendor dispatches the material to USMF and then USMF need to dispatch it back to. So overall the delivery time can be saved in that process because the vendor delivers the material directly to the customer and reduces the costs that are associated with carrying inventory, because unnecessarily USMF also don't need to carry the inventory. Either that's also could be a reason, or they don't have the relevant expertise to develop or the relevant infrastructure to build that particular finished good what is the customer demand is. So in those cases, they are also reducing the inventory carrying cost because you don't hold the products in your warehouse before you ship them to the customer. So you are actually not holding those materials in your warehouse. It gets shipped directly from your vendor to the customer. The only note which we need to make is in case of these direct deliveries, the delivery address of from the vendor will not be the delivery address primarily in the purchase orders will not be the USM of buying legal entity delivery address. Instead, when we create these direct delivery orders, the delivery address will be the delivery address from the vendor to the customer. So this is one of the important capabilities within Dynamics 365 F&O, and I would say many of the retail and distribution organizations primarily use this, where they don't need to unnecessarily carry the inventory. Instead, they place the orders with the vendor, and the vendor directly deliver the materials to the customers. So this is the whole idea of using direct delivery. Now, there are two parts to it. One, creating this direct delivery link, because we need to create a link between the sales order. The sales order is created by USMF to deliver the material to the customer, and there is a purchase order for which the request is made to the vendor to supply those materials. So in Dynamics 365, how are we going to execute this is all about creating a link between the sales order and the purchase order. But this particular link can be created either manually or automatically. So in this video, we are going to see both the ways how to create a manual link and also how to create an automatic link. And then we will once again come back to the slide, but let me go to the 365 screen. So first, if you want to create a direct delivery order, it starts from the demand creation. So you have to obviously create a sales order. So if I go to sales order, all sales order, because based on the demand we are arranging for the supplies. So first we need to create a sales order. Let me click on new and then just capture any customer account. Let me capture a customer account, so that is fine. And then here you need to decide what is the fulfilling site and warehouse. Let me the site and warehouse from the demo data. It can be 1 and 11, and the order type can be sales order itself. You don't need to change it. And then let me click on OK. So this is the traditional way of creating a sales order. Until this, there is no change. And you can also, let's say, add an item number. Let's say this is the item number which I want to order. The customer has placed an order for a Surface Pro laptop, and actually I am not either manufacturing, nor I just don't want to hold the inventory for the Surface Pro laptop. I just want to directly deliver this laptop whenever any requirements from the customer directly from the vendor. So let me select this item number, and let me put the quantity as 10. And then you can see by default the delivery type is stock. There are two delivery types. One is direct delivery, another is stock. By default, whenever we add lines, the delivery type is selected as stock. That's fine. That should not be a concern. And even if I look at it in the delivery section, in the line details, you can see the direct delivery is disabled. You will not be allowed to change the delivery type right over here. So if I change the delivery type from the stock to direct delivery, because ideally I think we have not configured. Let me save this item. Yeah, if I save this sales order, there is a warning message which clearly says direct delivery chain cannot be created without specifying a sourcing vendor. So because obviously the system needs to know what is the sourcing vendor for this particular item, without which the system will not be able to create a purchase order, right? So we will not be able to change the delivery type. So let me change it back to stock. But the option which we need to use, like I said in the presentation, we have two options. One is manually doing it and automatically doing it. Let me check them. First, show you the manual option. If you go to sales order, and then under new, there is option called direct delivery. Just click on direct delivery. This will open up the page where you need to enter the vendor details. So here, let me capture a vendor account. Let it be any vendor account. I think, yeah, it can be Fabricom Electronics. So let's assume that Fabricom Electronics is the supplier with whom I got into an arrangement where every time I get any order for Surface Pro laptop, it will be delivered directly from Fabricom Electronics to the customer. And before clicking on OK, always make sure that you select the include checkbox, because even though we have multiple lines over here, always you need to check this box. Otherwise, those lines will not be direct delivered. Also, if there are, let's say, if there are 50 lines over here, you can simply enable this toggle so that all the lines over here in the line section will be included as part of your direct delivery order. So here also you can note for each and every line you can add multiple vendor accounts. So based on the vendor accounts, separate purchase orders will be created. And even if some cases, some organizations prefer to have purchase agreements for the respective vendors. In those cases, if you want to search for the purchase agreements, always enable this toggle. And if you want to apply any discounts at the purchase, right now you can see the purchase price the system has taken. So let me apply, let's say, 2% discount. Then a discount rate will be applied over here for the 10 quantity. So if you want to have this discount percentage also, you can do it over here before creating the purchase order. So this is let me click on OK. So this is how we manually create a direct delivery purchase order, and we try to link a sales order with the purchase order. So now if I click on this, yeah, you can see we have created a purchase order to notify. So let me duplicate the tab. And in another tab, I am just opening the purchase orders, and 205 is the purchase order which got created. So I'm just opening the 205 over here. It's not necessary you need to navigate to procurement and sourcing and then open the purchase order from the sales order also. If you go to, I think in the general section, you can check the related orders and the related information of the purchase order. If you click on the related orders, then you can also view the purchase order in details against each and every line. And also if you click on the purchase order, it will directly navigate you to the purchase order which got created for this direct delivery. So here you can see the quantity is 10 and unit price is 8.99. But in case of sales order, it is actually the unit price is different. It is actually 1,900 because this is a selling price and that is a buying price. So which should be completely different. So system has automatically picked for the respective prices from the release product master and then updated it for before creating the direct delivery purchase order. So now if I scroll down here, you can also see in the delivery section, direct delivery is yes, and direct delivery status is purchase order created, right? So this is how we can manually create a but direct delivery purchase order from the sales order. Let me close this in another tab. So now what happens is, let me go over here and then let me confirm this purchase order. So now if I confirm this purchase order, and then if I go and proceed and post the product receipt, then the packing slip for the direct delivery sales order will also be automatically posted. So if I go to pick and pack, you can see the packing slip is disabled, because for direct delivery lines, we will not be able to post the packing slips manually. The packing slips can be posted based on the purchase orders which are directly linked to those sales orders. So now, until unless I receive this material, let me go and post the product receipt. Let it be product receipt direct delivery 123. I'm just giving a number, and then let me click on OK. So now once I click on OK, it not only posts the product receipt for this purchase order, but also, since we have created this link, the system automatically posts the we got an error message. Let me check this. Has been sent to credit management. Okay, this is because the customer is under credit management, so that is fine. So let me go and check check the customer. Controls of retail, credit management whole list. Okay, I could not see. Sorry, I need to check the balance. So this is a different error altogether because of the credit management. So that is completely fine. But the idea is, if the customer is having the respective um, credit, then the customer should be able to post the value. So let me change the quantity to 1. Let's try it again, and then let me save this. So because of the credit management, this thing, I'm just changing the quantity. Since I have changed the quantity right now, you can see I've changed the quantity in the sales order. I'll just save this sales order. Now let me go back. Let me refresh the purchase order. Now you can see because since we have created a link, the quantity got updated in the purchase order also. And of course, the status got changed from confirmed to approved. But let's try this again. Because of the credit management system is not allowing us to post for a higher value. Now we are trying to post the product receipt with a lower value. Let's see whether system allows us to do it. So now we are going to post the product receipt for just one quantity, direct delivery 123. Then let me click on OK. So previously we were trying it for with 10 quantity. Now we are trying to post this for one quantity. And once the product receipt is posted, yeah, I think now we are able to post it. The order was not sent to credit management because the order amount is less. This should be fine. So order amount is less. So that's the reason the product receipt is posted. And the receipt, you can see the receipt status is received for the purchase order. Now if I go to the sales order and let me refresh this page, the status should be obviously okay. This is because the page is not refreshed. Let me refresh this page. So I just refreshed this page. The 940 is the one which we created, and now for the sales order, you can see the status is got changed to delivered, which means even though we have not yet received the material physically in our warehouse, the material was dispatched from the vendor location. Once it got dispatched, we posted the product receipt in the purchase order, the direct delivery purchase order. And once we post the product receipt in the purchase order, the sales order status also got changed to delivered, which means we have physically received the item. Even though we have not received the item physically, the system assumes the process we have received the item physically, and we packed it and we have dispatched the material to the customer. But it actually got dispatched from our vendor, not from the legal entity USMF, right? So this is how you create a direct delivery link. But right now we created this link by manual process. Let me go back to the slide. So this is what we were discussing right now, that either the PO product receipt or the PO invoice posting will automatically trigger the sales order packing slip update, which means whenever you post the product receipt in the direct delivery purchase order, or the product invoice, the purchase order invoice, which will automatically trigger the product packing slip posting in your sales orders. So the status got automatically changed to delivered. Even before to that, it was actually the status was a open order. So then after that, it got changed to delivered status. And also I have written over here, user should run either a product receipt update or an invoice update from the purchase order. The invoice update is done on from the purchase order without a previous product receipt, then no automatic packing slip update happens for the sales order. So make sure that you post the invoice also in those cases. Yeah, and then however the sales order line is still updated to delivered. So because in case of sales orders, you need to manually post the invoice. The invoice posting of the purchase orders does not trigger a invoice posting in the sales orders, but you need to make sure that you manually go to the respective sales orders and post the invoice. And you will be able to post the invoice only for those quantities which you have actually delivered, and not for the quantities beyond that. Let's say you ordered for 10 quantity, and for 5 quantity you actually posted a product receipt, which results in the 5 quantity for which the packing slip would be posted. And right now in the sales order, you cannot create a invoice for 10 quantity, you can create invoice only for the 5 quantity. So those are the some strict validations which we have in case of direct delivery chain. So let me go back to system, but right now what we are going to see is how to create this link automatically. Let me go back to Dynamics 365. Then let me go to this item. So how do we do this? In the item release products, in the item master, you will be able to configure the how do we add this link automatically. This time what we have to do was, if you go to this item under under delivery force tab, there is a section called direct delivery. You need to enable this toggle, and you need to add the direct delivery. But the moment you enable this toggle, we get a error message saying vendor must be specified for direct delivery flagged items, which means, because if you want to create this link automatically, the system should know who is the vendor the system should pick whenever creating this direct delivery orders. So you need to make sure that you have a vendor over here. So let me select the same vendor, Fabricom Electronics. So system will know, okay, whenever the direct delivery order is created, so this is the vendor which system should pick and create a purchase order. So now if I enable this toggle, we will not get any warning message. And also you can select the warehouse which should be selected as a default direct delivery warehouse. So whenever the purchase orders are received, it will be received against the warehouse which is captured as direct delivery. So you can track these by virtually having a warehouse, because physically you don't need a warehouse for these cases. You can have a virtual warehouse in these cases in order to manage the direct deliveries and monitor all those orders of direct deliveries using this warehouse. And going forward, for any reports and inquiries, you can use this direct delivery warehouses. So let me save this. So this is the only simple configuration which is required. I just enable this toggle for direct delivery, and before enabling this, make sure that you have a vendor, and even if that vendor is authorized, then that should be fantastic. Approved. Let me check the approved vendors list. Okay, US 101 is also authorized. Make sure that you have an authorized vendor, so that the approved vendors are used for those purchase orders. So now let me go back. Now this time I'm going to create a same direct delivery sales order. Let me create a new sales order for the same customer, Contoso Retail San Diego. Then create a site and warehouse. Let me click on OK. So let me add the same item number. Right now you can see the delivery type is still stock. Now let me add the item number. Then quantity is 1, and once I add the item number, the delivery type automatically changed to direct delivery, because at the item master level itself we have configured this item is always a direct delivery item. And then let me save this sales order. The moment when I save the sales order, since the system has the vendor account and it also knows that it is a direct delivery item, it automatically creates a purchase order in this case. So previously we were manually creating it. Right now the system has automatically created this purchase order and linked the direct delivery sales order with the purchase order. So, and rest all process whatever we did before follows the same. And make sure that you have appropriate credit management configuration in place, otherwise you will get appropriate warning messages. In this case, we have previously closed the purchase order and with a lower quantity, and in those cases the credit management whole list will come into picture. So that's the whole idea of following a direct delivery process. But we will continue this in our part two also, where we will discuss about why do we need to have this link between the direct delivery sales order and the purchase order. What are the changes which we make in the direct delivery sales order will affect the appropriate purchase orders. How do we track this? How we can have, is there any separate inquiries and forms to control the receipt and delivery of these direct deliveries? So that's what we are going to see in our part 2 episode. So let me go back. Uh, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel D3 Talks or follow my profile in LinkedIn. Thank you.